Warner Bros. Has finally released the fourth installment to a movie franchise that no one cared about until 6 months ago. It's Godzilla vs. Kong. Come watch a maniac janitor and Stranger Things run around and do nothing while a monkey and lizard stomp and fist each other to death. Kyle Chandler's screen time has been cut down to less than 1% of this movie, and they didn't put an after credit scene because they admitted they literally have no idea where to take the franchise after this. So while Godzilla and King Kong are finally relevant again for another few days, let's talk about their newest movie, Godzilla vs. Kong.
Save Martha! Why did you say that name?
This movie is starring, this guy, I guess.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
His name is Alexander Skar, or as I like to call him, the poor man's Patrick Wilson. This movie starts off with Patrick Wilson smoking crack and getting the genius idea to rocket a giant monkey into the core of the planet. He then shows up to Skull Island, which is not really Skull Island, it's a fake version of Skull Island, but for some reason it's still located at Skull Island. They're basically containing a giant monkey that wasn't going anywhere in the first place. Because what better way to spend $70 billion than on a containment city that this lady just decided they don't want to use anymore? So the person that is responsible legally and ethically for the care of this gentle giant straps into a boat and drugs him to sleep in the rain with nowhere to piss and only one meal to eat. This lady is honestly a huge bitch if you haven't figured that out yet. She's cast as like the gentle heart scientist business lady, but really her lapse in judgment for the basic care of Kong is alarming. But everyone sucks in this movie except for King Kong and Godzilla, so you barely noticed how much she sucks. Before we continue any further, I just want to report that the only thing that strings these movies together is that Millie Bobby Brown is in 2 of them. Besides that, it's seriously a giant free-for-all. The first one focuses on a boring-ass family for half the movie. Kong Skull Island took place in the 70s and had John C. Reilly in it, and no one even knew that movie came out. Godzilla King of All Monsters focused on Monarch, which is completely gone in this movie, because in this one it's just like a rich guy wants to kill Godzilla, and Millie Bobby Brown learned about it from being radicalized by a podcast. The movie does absolutely nothing to explain to you that this bad guy is this guy from the previous movie's son. So the man who gave his life to save Godzilla in the last movie, his son tried to murder Godzilla in this movie. And the movie does absolutely nothing to piece that together for you. All it does is mention that they have the same last name. Almost all of the interesting stuff that was built up in King of All Monsters was completely abandoned in this movie. And once again, they basically replaced the entire cast except for Stranger Things girl. And the good actors that they did hire to be in this movie were basically cut from the final version. Anyways, I know no one cares about that boring shit. This is where the movie really begins.
Tell me. Do you bleed?
Godzilla and King Kong fight in the water in slow motion, or it just looks like slow motion because they are so big that the hits take forever to happen. It's like they're rendering in real time. This is kind of like how I punch in my dreams. I wish I could say this scene was cool, but every cool moment in this scene I already saw half a year ago when the trailer came out. Then the middle of the movie happens, and this part of the movie basically hinges around the fact that anytime these three are doing anything that no one will turn around. That's their greatest threat most of the movie, that somebody will turn their body 180 degrees and discover them. And then that happens. Oh no. In my opinion, there are only 2 interesting parts in this movie. And the first one is the Hollow Earth stuff. Funny enough, the Hollow Earth stuff is kind of a carryover from the last movie. But in the last movie, they went to Hollow Earth and it looked completely different from this Hollow Earth, and also they nuked it. So it was like they retconned what Hollow Earth looked like, or they just hoped no one remembered that they went to Hollow Earth in the last movie and that they blew it up. It's like every movie in this franchise is a soft reboot. So this Hollow Earth stuff was cool, honestly. Way more of the movie should have taken place here. This would have been the most epic place for a Godzilla vs. Kong battle. Or better yet, it's the perfect place for a flashback of an ancient Godzilla vs. Kong battle. There's a giant missed opportunity for you right there. They mentioned in this movie that these two are ancient enemies, but that's basically the end of it.
And we believe that they have an ancient rivalry. The myths say that their ancestors fought each other in a great war.
They should have included a flashback of an ancient battle or a war between the ape tribes and the Godzillas. There were really only 2 Kong vs. Godzilla fights, so having a third one that happens in ancient times would have been an epic moment to have in the middle of the movie. Take a page from Zack Snyder. If you're going to talk about an ancient battle, you need to show it as well. Alright, so back to the movie. Remember the part where this lady was hired by this guy who smoked crack with this guy and they told him to wirelessly download a power source, even though that makes no sense at all, but they were smoking crack, so I guess it makes sense? Well, now after spending $40 billion, they're finally about to download the power source, and compassionate business lady forgets why they came there in the first place.
What are you doing? Extracting the sample.
Beyond our understanding, you can't just drill into it.
Like, holy shit, lady, what do you think we're doing here? Did you forget the whole point of this expedition? Whatever, that doesn't matter anymore, because this lady decides she's gonna be a bad guy now. And then we finally get to the whole point of the movie, the real final battle on land between Kong and Godzilla. And it was pretty easy to figure out who was gonna win based on the order of the names in the movie's title. But I do commend them for having the balls to have a clear winner between the two. Although it's kind of weird that they focused on King Kong as the underdog the whole movie and Godzilla was used more as the bad guy role, and they still let Kong lose, but whatever, I don't really care. This whole movie gave me PTSD back to Team Edward and Team Jacob, where everyone was picking sides, but they both end up getting a happy ending anyways. Alright, I've spent enough time hating this movie. Let's talk about what I liked. I enjoyed 2 minutes. From the 1 hour 27 minute 30 second mark to the 1 hour 29 minute 29 second mark, there was finally a battle between Godzilla and Kong that felt real. It wasn't just a giant spectacle. Almost all of their fights are in slow motion, or they're moving too slow to really feel any of the hard hits, or they're just like lined up like it's Street Fighter or something, which is cool, but I was hoping for something a little more brutal. But for this last bout between the two of them, Godzilla and Kong embrace all of their animal instincts, and the two of them stop fighting like they're in a Street Fighter game and start fighting like they're animals. So next time they make one of these movies, they need to just take these 2 minutes and make the whole movie out of that. Don't spend $100 million on actors that no one cares about. Just spend the whole budget on a CGI monkey fight. 6 out of 10, plot twist after plot twist. Would not be a good way to describe this movie, because it was the most predictable thing I've ever seen. But it was good enough to be called entertainment, and it made Kong and Godzilla relevant again, which is respectable in these superhero movie times. See you next time, janitors.